Hi, good day everyone. Hi. Okay. So today we are going to discuss about what are the effect of inflation and the cost of living crisis and who is affected the most. So I would like to hear about candidate A's opinion. So candidate A, what is your opinion?
What are the effect to the most of inflation and cost of living crisis? In my opinion, the main effect of inflation and the cost of living crisis is the pressure it places on government policy. As the price of goods and service increase, people struggle to afford their daily needs. And this leads to growing public demand from government support, especially among low and middle income groups. Uh, to ease the burden, the government may introduce or increase subsidy for basic items like fuel, electricity, and food. Will this subsidy help people in the short term? Um, they they also increase government spending and can affect the national budget. Um, at the same time, the government might raise interest rate to control inflation. However, this can make loans more expensive and reduce economy activity. It is difficult balance controlling inflation without slowing down growth too much. How about you, candidate B? What are the effect the most of inflation and cost of living crisis?
Okay, that's a good point, candidate A. But I have a different idea about effect the inflation and cost of living crisis are big problem for low income family. When price go up like food, rent, transport and electrical, life become harder, but their salary stay the same. This makes it difficult to buy daily needs. Some family must eat less or buy cheaper food. They also can buy clothes or school things for their children. There is no money to save. If someone gets sick, they may not have money for the doctor. The situation causes stress. Parents feel worried and tired. Sometimes children also feel sad and anxious when they see their parents struggling. Some family borrow money or take extra jobs to survive, but this make life more difficult and stressful. Inflation give many problems to low-income family. I think government should help with money, food, and house to support them. What about you, candidate C?
Alright, thank you, candidate B. I see where candidate B is coming from, but I have slightly different opinion. So basically, inflation means price of goods and services that keep going up over time, and this situation is often called a cost of living crisis, and it affects many working adults around the world. And based on what I've read and observed, there are few main effects on working people. First, there's more financial pressure. For example, the prices of basic things like food, petrol, and even electricity have gone up. And because of that, many adults have to take extra job or even borrow money just to survive. And second is it can really affect their mental health when you constantly worry about money and it's become stressful, and some adults feels anxious, tired or even depressed, and sometimes this stress affect their relationship at home too. Third, many people have to change their lifestyle. For example, they might stop going out, avoid traveling, or only buy a cheaper brands. And some even delay a big plans like getting married or buying a house because they just can't afford it right now. And if this actually continues, it can also cause long-term problems. And one big issue is that many people can't save money anymore, and they spend everything just to earn money just on daily needs, and so there's nothing left to save or to invest. Another problem is the work productivity. If someone is stressed or tired because of financial problems, they might find it hard to focus or stay motivated at work. And for me, inflation and the cost of living crisis really affect working adult in many ways, either financially, emotionally, and even in their future planning. So what about you, candidate D?
So thank you, candidate C. You made a good point about how working adults are affected by inflation and the rising cost of living. I agree that they face many challenges, especially in supporting their families. However, I believe that university students are even more affected by this crisis. Firstly, many students rely on a limited budget. Most of us do not have full-time jobs and depend on PTPTN loans, scholarships, or support from our families. When prices increase, our basic expenses like food, transportation, and rent also go up. But our income stays the same. Secondly, some students may have to take part-time jobs to cover their living costs. Living costs. This may affect their academic performance because they have less time to focus on their studies. And furthermore, students may also sacrifice their health and well-being. Like for example, some might skip their meals or buy less nutrition food to save money. For example, like instant noodles or instant foods that cause problem to the student's health. Others might struggle to afford their internet data, printing, or learning materials, which are all essential, very, very important for their studies. In conclusion of my point, inflation and the cost of living crisis put a lot of pressure on university students who are already trying hard to build their future. Therefore, I strongly believe that university students are the most affected group. So, how about your opinion, candidate E?
Yeah, I totally agree with your opinion, but I do have my own suggestion or opinion as well. So my opinion is for a business owner. For example, inflation and the cost of living crisis present significant challenges for business owners, impacting nearly every aspect of their operation. For the example, there are three main things that I would like to share it about. So the first one is raw material and supplies. For example, this is often the most direct impact. The cost of materials needed for the production of goods for release prices. So, for the example, like for a bakery, it means more expensive flour and sugar because that's the most important thing as a baker. They have to make a lot of bakery stuff such as cake, breads, and so on. So another thing is for a retailer, it means higher wholesale prices for inventory. And second one is energy and utilizers. Fuel of transportation, electricity for operations, and heating or cooling costs all increase. Moreover, adding a substantial burden, especially on energy-intensive business like manufacturing or hospitality. And the third one is labor costs. As the cost of living rises for employees, they demand higher wages to maintain their purchasing power. For the example, like this puts pressure on business to increase salaries and benefits, which can be significant expenses, particularly for labor-intensive industries. Moreover, staff retention can also become a major issue if wages aren't competitive. I would like to add another one as another point, for such as rent and leases. Commercial rents also may increase, especially if lease agreements are tied to inflation rates. So that's my opinion, and anyone agree with my opinion or not?
So that's a good point. Um, okay. Can we move to the conclusion or discuss about our title today?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts on our topic, which is what are the effects the most of inflation and cost of living crisis. So, as we can see, candidate A, who is consider the role of government policy in managing this crisis, and candidate B, who mentioned or who focused on low income families who are hit hardest when it comes to affording basic needs. For candidate C, we can see she mentioned about working adults who struggle to manage rising expenses while supporting their families. For candidate E, she also explained the challenges faced by business owners, especially with raising uh, operation costs, like the things they should buy. So, and I highlighted university students who often face financial stress, lack of stable income, and difficulty balancing their studies with part time jobs. Now, based on all the points raised, in my suggestion that university students are the most affected group because they have limited income and are still in the process of securing their future. Do you all agree with this point, or would you like to suggest another group has the most affected?
Yes, agree.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
I agree with candidate D.
So, thank you for your opinion. If we all agree, then our group's conclusion is that university students are the most affected by inflation and the cost of living crisis. So, thank you very much for joining in our discussion today. Have a nice day, everyone.
Have a nice day too. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.